Welcome to IIRSM Qatar branch monthly meeting and CPD presentation. So it's me, Leo, your uh, current chairman, and today I'll be talking to you about two things. First, as we have prepared for you, and the same way we used to do in the past, that we talk about um, laws, regulations, standards here in Qatar, and then we will add on with things of interest to us. So for this month, this is what I have prepared for you. Firstly, I will talk about the occupational safety and health policy in the state of Qatar. And then we will add on with another topic, which is about ISO 31000 of 2018 principles, framework, and processes. And perhaps later on in the chat box, you can suggest topics that you would want to be presented in the future branch meeting. And then we will see if we can get some speakers for those topics that you would want to be discussing here. We are collecting your suggestions, and we will see how we can filter them according to the demand. But anyhow, welcome to this monthly meeting and presentation. Our apologies that some of our um, uh, committee members are not able to join. Again, as I've said, this is the first time that we have encountered some issues with joining in. Rest assured that we will be sorting it out for our next meeting by next month. So once again, good evening and welcome to all of you. So allow me to start my presentation. I'll be talking to you about occupational safety and health policy in the state of Qatar. So we all know that in 2020, Qatar issued this policy, which is in support of existing laws, regulations, guidelines that we have already been adapting here. If you can see the photo here in this image, this is in one of the meeting with the Ministry of Administrative Development, Labor and Social Affairs, or better known as Madilsa. And as you're aware of, we've been very much a part of these meetings, fora, of which we've been, they started to invite us way back, I believe, in 2017, 2018. So IIRSM Qatar branch has been actively participating in this, and you can see some of our members here in this image. So this is all about the national policy in occupational safety and health. And we all know that the purpose of this is to promote the right to safe and healthy workplaces. And this was also published in the homepage of International Labor Organization. So this was published officially in October 4 of 2020. Now, this policy in Qatar is based on the country's commitment to upholding the health and safety of the workers, and of course, the effort to improve the system. And we've proven that in the last FIFA that yeah, during the preparation, there's been a lot of improvement, particularly during the work timing in during summer. And the policy sets out universal principles concerning occupational safety and health, and this was endorsed by Madilsa and the Ministry of Public Health. This was drafted in October 2020. October 4, it was approved and it was published in the prints in October 7 of 2020, just months before pandemic. And this was also established under the health and safety employee as one of the priority population groups as identified by the Ministry of Public Health under its National Health Strategy for 2018 and 2022. And we will also be looking at the pillars of Qatar National Vision 2030, which is also mentioned in here. So in this document, in the National Health Strategy 2018 to 2022, it's mentioned that there's a plan for healthy and safe employees, of which its aim is to improve occupational health data collection and regulation and policy, providing safer workplaces, and of course, to introduce workplace wellness programs. At HMC, where I work, and also with other government organizations, they have already started the well-being clinic, health risk reduction programs, and it's very interesting because I have taken part in that, and it's really working out well with me. So if you're working in a government institution, and if you have your wellness program, I advise you to participate in it because it's really beneficial for all of us. And then also in this document, it states that it will improve the health and well-being of the workforce by working with employers to further enhance occupational health-based programs and to safeguard our own health as employees, and of course, with its chain effect or reaction in improving personal and economic productivity. But we are already in 2023, and so we will see soon. Maybe they will come up with another document as to the result of this document. So this is where this pillar can be seen in one of the priority population. So there are seven, and the third of this priority population is the health and safe employees. So there's a lot of things that's happening or has already happened prior to FIFA, during the FIFA, and then we will see how it goes as we are still here in Qatar, or as we are observing and participating in some of the programs. Now, in drafting this policy, the ministries have considered the following documents: the International Labor Organization Occupational Safety and Health Convention number 155 of 1981, and also the Protocol of 2002 to the Occupational Safety and Health Convention, and the Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention of 2006, number 187, as well as their accompanying recommendations. I suggest, guys, that you take a look at this, open the website of ILO, so that somewhat you can relate on what is it stating with regards to occupational safety and health, and how does it correlate to what do we have here in the state of Qatar, particularly for those who are working in private companies. So this is the content of C155, Occupational Safety and Health Convention 1981. These are the content, and there are more into this. You can go through it if you open this website. And another thing is the P155 or Protocol 155, which is talking about Protocol of 2002 to the Occupational Safety and Health Convention of 1981. So you will see here the preamble, you will see here the contents of this protocol. And also the C187, the Promotional Framework for Occupational Safety and Health Convention 2006, number 187. So you will also see the content of which Qatar based the content of the occupational safety and health policy based on these documents. So the policy is resting on the guiding principles established in the permanent constitution. This can be accessed in Al-Mizan, and in particular, the values of justice, benevolence, freedom, equality, and high morals, which can be found in Article number 18, the promotion of public health and prevention of diseases and epidemics, which is found in Article 23. So you will see here an underlined number of which is stated in the policy, but when I checked it, it was not Article 24, but rather it was Article 23. And it's talking about the ideals of social justice upon which the workers and employee relationship shall be based according to Article 30. So again, look at, try to access Al-Mizan, www.almizan, and then open this document, Guiding Principles in the Permanent Constitution. You will see this article. So anyway, let's take a look on what is contained in this. So this is resting in this guiding principles of the society in the permanent constitution. So Article 18, it says that the Qatari society is based on the values of justice, benevolence, freedom, quality, and high morals. Article 23, as I've said, which in the policy was mentioned as 24, the state shall foster public health, provide means of prevention from diseases and epidemics in their cure in accordance with the law. And the article number 30 is saying that the employee-employer relationship shall be based on the ideals of social justice and shall be regulated by law. And when we talk about the health and safety law, we can also find another related content in Qatar Labor Law of 2004, particularly from, I believe, from Article 96 up to 101, which is so important to all of us. Now, this policy operates alongside the following national policies and strategies: Qatar National Vision 2030, of which it defines broad future trends and reflects the aspirations, objectives, and culture of the Qatari people. So, in the first pillar of the vision, human development recognizes that a capable and motivated workforce whose rights are protected and safety is ensured is instrumental to the achievement of long-term national goals. And here, the pillar is stressing that the commitment of the state to providing world-class health services and a distinguished education system to the entire population. And this has already borne fruits because now we have an academe, the University of Doha for Science and Technology, which has already their bachelor's degree in occupational safety and health. So that's one of the result of this pillar. They used to have diploma in occupational health and safety, and after I think couple of years, because I'm part of the program advisory committee there in CNAQ before, and now it's UDST. So they've already started their bachelor's degree in occupational safety and health. This is what is contained in Qatar National Vision 2030, the first pillar, which is about human development. So here, one of the highlights here is that education is one of the basic pillars of social progress. The state shall ensure, foster, and endeavor to spread it. So here, we're not only talking about academic or other professional education, but we're also talking here about health and safety education, of which the training providers, the academe, they're very much concerned into this, commercially speaking and academically speaking. And also in Qatar National Health Strategy, Qatar Second National Development Strategy. Here we can also see that there's a focus on health and safe employees amongst 7 priority population. So as I mentioned earlier, although this document has already not really expired, but this is now overshadowed by Qatar National Vision 2030 with its focus on the different pillars, and one of them is this first pillar on human development. So it's just interesting as risk and safety professionals to know about this document, which we can sometimes use as reference in enhancing our risk and safety practices, and particularly in dealing with our workers. So these are the principles that are stated in the policy: continuous improvement through the assessment of occupational risk and control of hazards at source. So now let me bring you back to Qatar Law number starting from 17, 18, 19 to 20 of 2005. So particularly in Qatar Law number 20, which is talking about controls of risk. So here, although this policy is somewhat derived from these existing laws, there it's also very interesting to find out how they are linked, because sometimes we may say Qatar Law number 25 needs to be updated, but now we can say that in 2020 there's this document which came out and it is interlinked with the different laws of 2005. And also, another principle states that there's that development of nationwide preventative safety and health culture by raising public awareness, providing training to workers and employers on OSH, and taking measures to ensure that workers are informed of safety and health hazards associated with their work. So again, this is bringing us back to law number 20. Well, it's not only from 20, but they are all interrelated to each other. Law number 17, 18, 19, and 20 of 2005. And also, it also connects us to the Qatar Labor Law of 2004, particularly in Article 100 about providing first aid. And then also the right to a safe and healthy working environment through the establishment of a system of defined rights, responsibilities, and duties. Now, areas of action of OS policy, we are so familiar of the word coordination, cooperation, and of course, consultation mechanism to ensure that there is a dialogue and there's an exchange of best practices between the different authorities with responsibilities for OS at the various levels in the national OS system. And this may even include joint activities for dissemination of information, prevention, promotion, and protection. So if you are keen on reading the daily news, almost every week we can see articles related to health and safety. It might not be very specific to workers' health and safety, but somewhat there has been a number of programs already initiated because of the advent of this OS policy in Qatar. And of course, I know that the country has already awakened into the reality of the requirement or the imperativeness of occupational health and safety. And another area of action is the development of system for identification, recording, notification, compilation, analysis, and annual publication of statistics on occupational accidents, including injuries and fatalities and diseases. So here, uh, there's item number letter I, or number one, fostering of transparency and facilitating the exchange of all statistics and data among relevant authorities. So here, perhaps Ministry of Public Health is one authority here that is not mentioned, but of course, that's the government agency that is responsible for having statistics with regards to injuries and fatalities. At Hamad Medical Corporation, we have the data, the trauma registry department, which is also monitoring workplace-related injuries and fatalities. And also another sub-element of area letter B is the measurement of progress and the effectiveness of OS system. So this is a work in progress. But of course, I believe that in our own organization, we are already monitoring in terms of our key performance indicators about the progress and effectiveness of our occupational safety and health system. And then another area of action is harmonization, regular update, and communication of the OS legislation and standards. So just be vigilant because every once in a while there are some health and safety related forum meetings that sometimes you are not aware of. You only get to know them in the news that it has already taken place. So if you know some of these, especially with regards to updates on legislation and standard, our IIRSM group chat is always open for sharing of information. And another area of action is the provision of occupational health services entrusted with essentially preventive functions responsible for advising employers and workers in the undertaking on the requirements for the establishment and maintenance of a safe and healthy working environment. And these services should facilitate the adaptation of work to the capabilities of workers in the light of their state of physical, social, and mental health and well-being. So I guess you're also familiar that there is now a national contact number, which I believe is 16000, so that if you need advices on mental health and well-being, we can get professional advice from this call center. And broadening of access to OSH education and training, both at the national level and in the workplace. This is already an ongoing process in our own individual workplaces. We're doing this already, including the integration of OSH at all levels to ensure that training, capacity building, and raising awareness activities include all relevant stakeholders. Can any one of you tell me how can we do this? Integration of OS at all levels. Can anyone share in the chat box here? Because I want also to challenge each and every one of us. How do we determine the need for training other than conducting training needs analysis? So the answer is very straightforward. We need to be familiar with our risk assessment process, because if we can see most of our practices nowadays, they are already risk based, right? And also the fact that we are in risk and safety practices, we can really apply this skill in integrating this to in integrating us at all levels, that we there will be training with our workforce. Now, with regards to responsibilities, Madilsa is responsible here for elaborating, reviewing, and revising the labor legislation and regulations in OS in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. And guess what? We are one of the stakeholders that's been invited frequently by Madilsa whenever there is a forum with regards to health and safety in the state. So we will keep you posted, because I was informed that if not this year, maybe next year there will be again discussion with Madelsa about how we can enhance and how we can contribute, particularly as IIRSM, being represented by some of our committee chairs. We can participate and share our input. And number one of that we want the country to realize is the regulation of OS practices here in the country, and also about elaborating and reviewing on a periodic basis the national policy concerning action of labor inspection services and the supervision and coordination of labor inspection activities. And also, Madilsa will be responsible in participating in the development and implementing of special programs for us. And one of these is, of course, the April 28th World Day for Health and Safety, and including specific studies and research. And also about the promotion of compliance at the national level with agreements and conventions ratified by the state of Qatar together with international organization, in particular the ILO, in the areas of its competence. So here, as long as we can contribute from the grassroots level until way above us, but not really to the top echelon, because we do not know who they are. But whenever we are asked to contribute from our uh, own competence, we can contribute in here. And also the collection, analysis, and sharing of information and reporting on data concerning occupational accidents and diseases. So we are so familiar with law number 18 of 2005 about reporting of incidents, where there is a formula that is used, being submitted by especially by private companies complying with the health and safety. And furthermore, Madilsa will be responsible for developing, implementing educational actions on topics related to the improvement of working conditions in health, safety, and environmental aspects of work. So our part as IIRSM, instead of waiting for Madilsa, we are already contributing to the state about our own with regards to our own education, our own effort in educating ourselves, enhancing our knowledge and skills, and also in disseminating information that contributes to the protection and promotion of workers' health and safety. And also, Madilsa is responsible for conducting investigations so that causes of accidents can be identified, and then diseases in the workplace, and again, in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. And also in establishing partnership and technical exchanges in relation to national and international organizations and institutions, so that institutional performance can be strengthened, and the training of public officials. So we hope that the visit of our um, senior officers from WRSM UK office would also bring more light. And if you can help us identify people from Madilsa that we can contact so that we can arrange a meeting with them, this will be good, because at least we can also contribute to Madilsa in enhancing what they already have. And another responsibility of Madilsa is the fostering of the availability and training of human resources devoted to occupational safety and health. So here we do not know how far they have gone already when it comes to the training of human resources. Now, another government agency in the country which is involved in having its own responsibility is the Ministry of Public Health. And what are they responsible of? They're responsible in promoting a healthy working environment, prevention of work-related injuries and diseases, and protection from health hazards. So during the last 3 years, we are all witnesses to this, how COVID-19 was managed here in Qatar. And I can tell you honestly that we really did our best. I was part of the team during the COVID management. I've worked in the National Health Incident Command Center, and I witnessed how much effort was exerted by the country so that we can really manage COVID-19 here in the state of Qatar. And it was really a fantastic effort from their side. And also another responsibility is the promotion of integrated healthcare services for workers and providing comprehensive physical and psychosocial services, including rehabilitation and strengthening of occupational health surveillance. So psychosocial services, um, um, the problem here is when we talk about psychosocial services, and then if we correlate this to the mental health issues, it seems like it doesn't sound good for us. But honestly, this is a very good area of health services that we can avail here in Qatar. As I've mentioned, we can contact the what do you call this? The call center 16000 if we need advice related to mental health and well-being. And don't be afraid, because there's a lot of professionals inside the system that can help us. And I do not know if you also have your own mental health and well-being policy that you have formulated, or you are planning to formulate. And in that case, don't be shy to contact me if you need help on this, so that I can also assist you in formulating your own mental health and well-being policy. And also the definition of standards and indicators for the follow-up activities concerning workers' health, and the collection, analysis, and sharing of information on reporting of data in occupational accidents and diseases. So here, um, law number 17, law number 18 are very much applicable in here, and even law number 19 and number 20 of 2005. So more about the responsibility of MOPH is about the periodic review of and updating of the official list of work-related diseases contained in table number 1 of the labor law number 14 of 2004, and table number 3 of HR law number 15 of 2016. So if you're curious about this, try to search this in the internet. Otherwise, access the website of Almizan. And the contribution to the dissemination of information on health services available to workers. Again, as I've said, April 28th is a World Day for Health and Safety. We can capitalize on this, and we can maximize our effort in providing this information to our workers. And to support the development of studies and research on workers' health and dissemination of the findings. And fostering availability and training of human resources, again, related also to what Madilsa stated. Now, the situation regarding us in the working environment will be reviewed by representatives of both ministries at appropriate intervals, or if necessary with a view to evaluating results, identifying major problems, and establishing priorities of action. Now, on the hindsight, we within our organization, we also need to do our part, because it will be difficult for us to wait for them. So at the micro level, we can do our own review of what we have within our organization with regards to referring it to this policy. So it's the same way. If you have your policy, when do you review your policy? As we've known it in our training, that we review the same way we review our risk assessment on a periodic basis, depending on how did we establish the date of review with regards to uh, new equipment, new site, new leadership. So the review will only take place when we were able to establish our own uh, uh, timing or the schedule to review our OS policies. So this is all about the OS policy in the state of Qatar, and these are the references as I was mentioning to you. Qatar Labor Law number 14 of 2004, Law number 9 of 2012. Concerning civil defense, I guess you're familiar with this, particularly in structures that have been approved, and prior to tearing down of these structures, you need approval, because we are submitting our drawings to General Directorate for Civil Defense. And also these different laws, Decree Law number 17 of 1990, and also number 18, so on and so forth. So these are all the references. Any questions so far, or in any insights about the OS policy? Has anyone encountered or experienced any challenges with regards to adapting this or applying this in your workplaces? If not, let me proceed to the next part of our presentation, which is really now related to what we do at IIRSM Qatar branch. And allow me to present to you the ISO 31000 of 2018 risk management principles, framework, and processes. So these are not comprehensive presentation. I just want us to, I do not know if some of you have already taken IMS, and how many of you are into risk management practices. So this is just an awareness, because we can still talk more of this in a very detailed form. What I just wanted to do is for us to have an awareness about the contents of these guidelines, particularly the principles, the framework principles and processes. So we all know that ISO, or International Organization for Standardization 31,000 of 2018, is an international recognized standard which helps organization apply or implement robust risk management system. And basically, we're talking here about risk, how to manage them, how do we involve our workforce with regards to looking at the risk that may arise or may hamper or impede the achievement of the objective of the organization. So basically, this is all about guidelines, well, it's actually called the standard. This will help the organization develop their own risk management strategy so that they can effectively identify and mitigate the risk, thereby increasing the likelihood of achieving their objectives, and of course the protection of and providing value to their asset. And what's the goal for this? Is of course to create a risk-aware culture. When we say risk-aware culture, we assess the risk, we manage the risk, and who are involved? We involve our employees and stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders. So how is risk looked at with ISO 31000? We all know that we always talk about risk to be negative, but this time allow me to go the other way around, to look at risk as on the positive perspective. So what do we do when there is when we have positive risk? We explore them. Why? Because there's that potential gain. And then on the opposite side, when we see risk as negative, we call them as threat, and this will result to some form of loss. However, we just do not stop from here, because from that form of loss, we also learn our lessons. Yes? And of course, in the middle, we have neutral view for the risk, of which we're looking at the likelihood of the events, and then we expound from it from there. So when we have positive risk, we explore it for opportunities. And what do? We maximize the return on investment by taking into account the risk premium. So one example of this is, how much do you invest in providing um, quality personal protective equipment? For the negative risk, of course, what do we do with the negative risk? We consider them as threat, and therefore we avoid it, we transfer it, we reduce or we maintain the identified risk. And then for the neutral, for the uncertainty, which we are always into, whenever we have some projects, there's always that uncertainty. But of course, I much as I want to avoid saying that that terminology uncertainty, it's always unavoidable. So what do? We calculate the probabilities of various risk scenarios and predict the outcomes. This is the neutral risk, or which we call as uncertainty. So here, we will basically look at the principles, the framework, and the processes. The principles, they are required so that we can be effective in and efficient in managing our risk. We can maximize our resources, and then we can be capitalizing on the time that we may need to use in managing our risk. And the framework will be able to assist us in integrating our risk management practices in our everyday work life. And then the process is an inherent or integral part of the management, of which we look at the structure, the operations, and the activities of the organization. So here's basically how the principles, the framework, and the process are interconnected to each other. So it's well known that the ISO 31000 of 2018, uh, setting aside commercializing it, is an iterative process. It's really helping us, because if we take a look at, and if we put a serious consideration into this, being in risk and safe in the safety management practices, we can really capitalize on this structure. So these are the principles. I will go into this. So first of all is the risk management should be an integral part of all organizational activities. Now, let me ask you, you may say, but I don't belong to the management level. What can I do? How can I contribute? You can contribute by simply making yourself familiar with the ins and outs of risk assessment. Once you're familiar with the risk assessment process, you will be able to contribute to this risk to be managed and to become an integral part of all organizational activities. Secondly, there has to be a structure, and it should be comprehensive. It should be able to cover the entire spectrum of the organization. because in this approach, we'll be able to contribute to consistent and comparable results. How is it without a structured risk management process? How is it without a structured comprehensive risk management process? And how is it to manage the risk partially, and comparatively, how is it to manage the risk on a how is it to manage the risk on a comprehensive approach? And then, of course, you need to customize it. What do you need? What is that you want to establish? Um, it should be proportionate to the organization's external and internal context. So what are those outside of our work activity that can impact us, and then what do we have inside that may also be able to achieve our objectives, and which also may be able to affect external stakeholders. And then it should be inclusive. Everyone should be part of this. When we say uh, risk management, of course, we cannot just manage the risk without involving people to assess the risk. So always remember, from the as I call it, from the tea room to the boardroom, everyone should be involved, and that's what we know as inclusive principle of managing the risk. So everyone should be made aware of the risk that may be involved in our operation. And it should be dynamic. It can change at any time. Any event may also affect the way our operation goes on, and it can constantly change. So the risk we may encounter today may be again the following day, maybe we will encounter different risk. So its risk is very dynamic, and it should always be based on available information. So when we talk about available information, we know that KPIs, key performance indicators, are very important for us, particularly in private organizations. So we need to understand our different lagging and leading indicators, so we will be able uh, to extract this best available information, because they are very important input to risk management. So we can base it onto history, like for example, in the last 6 months, how many work-related incident have we documented in the last 1 year, in the last quarter. So these are very important information that we can also reference for future expectation. And then it should also be able to involve human and cultural factors. We cannot just simply ignore the people inside, because the people are the backbone of every industry. So we need also to understand how people behave, and how were their culture before they joined the organization, and how can we merge that culture within our culture. And of course, lastly, we have continual improvement. So continual improvement is, we started from A, and then we continue B, C, D, E, F, G, until we are able to achieve our main goal. So it's a linear process. We started from the starting point, and then we have a goal that we want to achieve. It's different from continuous process. Continuous is cyclical. Okay. So what do we use here? I believe you're familiar with PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, which is also a risk management process. So in addition to this, the purpose of risk management principle provided in here is our link to the framework and practice of in achieving our organization strategic goals. So the framework is the one that can assist us in integrating our risk management process into our significant activities and functions. The effectiveness of this is dependent on its integration on how the organization is governed, how decisions are done, who does decision making, who will say we don't want to do this, you want to do this. So it can only be effective when we have the framework, because The core of the framework is leadership and the commitment of the leaders. So in other words, in our framework, there has to be a buy-in from the top management because they will be the core. First of all, they will be the one to provide budget. So if there's no budget, we don't have the support from the stakeholders, particularly from those people above us. So this is how it looks like. It's circular in its view, and then let us see here in the framework. It has to be integrated in what we do within the organization. Of course, someone has to design the framework. It should be well designed in a way that we have what do you call this? We have a blueprint to follow, and then implementation. Of course, there has to be a strict implementation with some sort of flexibility. So, in other words, we look at lessons where we can learn something, and then we take off from that lesson and move forward, and we can further enhance what we have learned from that lesson as we are implementing our risk management strategy. And of course, the same way with other aspect of managing our processes, there has to be an evaluation, and again, there has to be an improvement that we need to take a look at. Okay. And lastly, this is all about our processes. So, as I've said, this is just an awareness because we will see how we can look at these three elements of the standard with its detail. So I don't want to expound here more of the risk management process, but I just want you to take a look at this within its structure, what is contained in this. As I was saying, that we are looking at this in in a cyclical process. The ISO 31000 of 2009 is linear in process, but this one is cyclical in process. In other words, we start from one point, we go around in circle, whatever is happening inside, again, we go back from our starting point. So here you have the um, scope, context, and criteria, which is very familiar to us, especially with our integrated management system. So the main thing here is the context of the organization. How what in what business arrangement are we in? So our context is comprised of internal and external stakeholders. And then, of course, the risk assessment process. So we are looking at risk management process. And the risk assessment, as we've said earlier, that is the starting point towards risk management. When we deal with our workforce, we deal with them in educating them, in assessing the risk in a different way. Now we're looking at managing the risk when it comes to this particular structure of risk management, of which assessment of risk is another area. So here we identify the risk, we analyze the risk, and we evaluate the risk before we treat them. Okay? So I guess most of us are familiar with 5 steps to risk assessment. Uh, Later on, perhaps in the future meetings, if you can suggest, we will talk about the detailed steps to risk assessment and then the detailed steps to managing the risk. And then, of course, we record and then we report our identified risk, our way of treating it, and then we monitor and review. And of course, the consultation and communication, it may take place before or after. So you can put communication and consultation either prior to managing the risk or after the risk, because we need to know what are the risks, we need to communicate what are the risks, and then after we have treated or we have mitigated the risk, we need to communicate and we need to consult. Why is that? Because the process does not end there. As we've said, risk is always a dynamic process. So again, in another view, this is how we look at it Again, this is a cyclical process. So if you can see the direction of the arrows, it goes around in circle. And as I was mentioning to you, that in the context of risk management, assessing the risk now becomes different here. Compare also to the way the way we can ask our workforce to assess the risk, and then to filter the most significant risk, and then to filter the risk in order that we can prioritize the management of the risk. So this is just for us to take a look at this, right? So I'm not going to expound on this as of the moment, but eventually, as I've said, we will make this as a separate topic. Each element of the standard, we can go deeper into it so that it will become beneficial for us as risk and safety management practitioners. Okay. Right. Guys, don't worry, because this presentation will be made available in the website of IIRSM. Okay, this is our usual standard. I will send the PDF of this to Julie, and Julie will be the one to post this. The PDF, it will be made available, and also I believe that in YouTube, this can also be viewed again. Right. So, in summary, um, WRSM Qatar branch needs to be aware of Qatar OSH policy, ISO 31000 of 2018 risk management principles, framework, and processes are vital tools for us as professionals, right? Do you have any question related to this? I've already answered that question of the availability of this material. Yes, this material will be available. So, our contact information are here. Dipo, he was our chairman for almost 3 years, and I'm your current chairman. So you can contact me if you need some assistance related to what we're doing at IIRSM, or maybe some advices with regards to risk and safety. And these are the references which I've used for this presentation: the National Health Strategy 2018 to 2022, Qatar National Vision 2030, and of course ISO 31000 of 2018 Risk Management Guidelines, and some part of this from PECB ISO 31000 Certified Risk Manager course, and a Risk Practitioner's Guide to ISO, and of course from the website of International Labor Organization. All right. So if you have some questions, we can provide you with a little bit more of time, maybe around 5 minutes. Um, I can stop sharing, and if you have some question, you can post it in the chat box, and then we can talk about it.
Or you
Or
can
you,
unmute yourselves and ask Leo the question.
yes,
Sorry, Leo,
yes,
you were going to say
yeah,
that, weren't you?
yeah. Yeah, and also you can open your camera so that we can see each other. It's been a while, guys. We Yes, good to see you. Yeah, we planned for face-to-face meeting, but unfortunately, there are only a few who appeared. So I wonder if by next month, those of you who are here are willing to attend the face-to-face meeting. We will arrange it. Please signify your intention once we share the invitation, and we can meet each other again. So, any question related to the presentation, or any insight which you can share with us? Kanan, good to see you. Any question or any insight? I don't see any question here. The only question that is asked here by Latif, I would like to know if you can share with us the same presentation via email or WhatsApp. Okay, I will make it available in PDF. Uh, you can send me message in WhatsApp. I will try my best to send it directly to you, other than this being available in IIRSM website. Okay. So if there's no other question, guys, I would just like to announce that our next meeting in November, probably on the third or fourth week. So we will announce it in our group chat. And some of you who have not renewed your membership, let me know, and we will arrange for the renewal of it. Any question related to membership in IIRSM, um, you can share your question. Vin Frindas, um, I will give you my telephone number. That's 55606495. Pick it up, and then I am in WhatsApp. I will reply to you. Okay. So please wait for the next announcement for our next meeting, and we are interested to have you with us face to face. Please let us know. Yes, Mansur, you are most welcome to attend as a as well. I don't want to call you a non-member. I will call you pre-member, not free member. Okay, pre-member before you become a member. Let me call you that way. That would be better. That would encourage you to become a member rather than non-member. So yes, you can invite your friends, those who are pre-members. You can invite them, and I hope that you will join us in our next face-to-face meeting. We will announce it in our group chat. So once again, thank you for being with the WRSM Qatar branch tonight. And I hope that you are able to pick up some lessons that you can learn and apply in your workplace with regards to Qatar OS policy, and also to risk management principles, framework, and processes. Rest assured that you will have the materials, and also we will be learning from each other. So if no insight, no question, um, again, okay, let me, who asked this question, please send the WhatsApp link. Anyway, Latif, I will reply to you. Here's my number. I will type here. I am in WhatsApp. Send me message, Latif. There, if you can see it. Here's my number, Latif. Send me a message, and then I will reply to you. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining Qatar WRSM branch, and we want you to be active in our risk and safety family. Uh, Qatar branch of WRSM is what we call the home of risk and safety management professionals. So be part of us. Thank you. And Julie, thank you so much for arranging this meeting. Our apologies also for the confusion about the what do you call this, the registration, but we will work together to enhance it if in case we're going to have our hybrid meeting by for the month of November. Thank you so much, guys. If you have no question, good to see you, and hope to see you in the next meeting.
Great. Thank you for another excellent session, Leo, and I hope to see everyone next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.